Ancelotti looks like he will be the new Brazil coach in 2024. For more on this, Alex Kirkland in Madrid. But let's start off with Gustavo Hoffmann, who is in Portugal at the moment with the Brazilian national team. Gustavo, how has this been received?
Hello, Dan. Hello, Craig. Well, it has been a busy day here in Lisbon because of the news with Carlo Ancelotti. What we know from ESPN, our reports, our sources say, is that CBF, the Brazilian Football Confederation, believes that everything is closed with Carlo Ancelotti for 2024. After his contract expires with Real Madrid, he will take the job in the Brazilian national football team. Till then, he could appoint someone from his staff to work like a coaching role staff with the Brazilian team, who would still keep Ramon Menezes, our interim coach nowadays, till Carlo Ancelotti arrives. So, and the possibility of Davide Ancelotti arrives in Brazil is real, because the Brazilian Confederation thinks that Davide Ancelotti, his son, would be a good appointment to take the job now for this period of transition between the arrival of Carlo Ancelotti and maybe the Copa America, because we have the whole European season ahead. We have so many matches for Brazil in the qualifying for the World Cup, and the Copa America will be in the middle of 2024. And the idea of the Brazilian Confederation is to have Carlo Ancelotti in June of the next year.
Gustavo, this has never happened before, is it? In the history of Brazilian football, there's never been a non-Brazilian in charge of the national team. Are people excited, hesitant? How do they feel?
Yeah, the people is really excited about Carlo Ancelotti, but the people also in Brazil doesn't feel so good about the possibility of not having a head coach now, because it's also very hard for Brazil to not have a coach, a dedicated coach for the Brazilian team. You know, so the feeling in Brazil is, okay, we want Carlo Ancelotti, but we're going to have to wait 1 year to have Carlo Ancelotti. And who's gonna be the head coach till then? Like Ramon Menezes is not a very known head coach in Brazil. He doesn't have a long history as a head coach. He was a very good player, but he's the coach of the under-20 team. So the feeling now in Brazil, it's a little mix of, okay, we like Carlo Ancelotti, but do we have to wait a year? Can't we have another coach now? Is it real that Brazil is going to have to wait for a coach more than 1 year?
Alex, what's been the reaction in Spain to this news?
I think there's a little bit of scepticism of wanting to see exactly how this plays out, of when this is all confirmed and how it's going to work, because as Gustavo's just been explaining, it's a pretty unique situation, this. The fact that you've got a national team of the scale and prestige of Brazil being prepared to wait, not just for a few months, because Brazil have already been waiting since the World Cup for a new coach, but for a whole extra year. I think there's some surprise. That, of course, everyone knows here how highly rated Carlo Ancelotti is internationally with his record at club level. Of course, Ancelotti has never managed a national team until potentially now. Like I say, a little bit of skepticism and questions about how this is going to impact Real Madrid. How will this look from a Real Madrid point of view? Because that's equally important for Madrid and their status as kind of the biggest club in the world. They wouldn't want there to be any kind of perception that Ancelotti wasn't putting the club first, or that there was any kind of distraction for this upcoming job with Brazil in terms of Ancelotti's responsibilities here with Real Madrid this coming season. So, of course, that will be absolutely key, how this is presented, how it's kind of sold to people, this potential plan, I guess. And the key thing from a Madrid point of view, as I say, is that there's no suggestion that Real Madrid won't have Carlo Ancelotti's absolute undivided attention for next season. Now, whether that's the reality and how realistic that is, I guess, is another question. But it's certainly kind of uncharted territory. We haven't really seen anything like this for a Real Madrid coach before.
It's the problem, isn't it? A couple of bad results for Ancelotti at Madrid. He's already thinking about Brazil, already looking for houses, isn't he? He's not focused.
Well, it does leave him a little bit open to that. But what a great opportunity. The year-long wait is a surprise. But I actually, when we put that graphic up there, I forgot about Bayern Munich. When you think, I'm not putting them out to grass, but, you know, Milan, Bayern, PSG, Chelsea, Real Madrid, Everton. You know, all these great sides that he's managed, and now potentially with the opportunity to manage arguably the most iconic footballing nation on the planet, Brazil, with all that flair and that. I think desperation is maybe it's the wrong word, maybe it's not, to bring that success back to the country again, certainly on a World Cup front. And being the first non-Brazilian possibly to manage Brazil is a huge step. But yeah, I suppose the year wait thing is the one head scratcher out of it all. But I think it makes real sense for him just to go there. He's nothing else to prove in club management. Absolutely nothing. If he could go and take Brazil back to the summit again, that would just send him off to retirement, to a beach, a golf course, whatever it is. Thank you very much.
You take a look at Brazil's results in previous tournaments, and obviously they've struggled, and they haven't really been the results we're expecting, especially, of course, the last World Cup, Gustavo, where we thought that they would be the team to beat, losing against Croatia in that lacklustre performance in the quarter-final. Let's look ahead to, say, that 2024 team. What would Carlo Ancelotti's starting 11 look like?
Yeah, he would have one of the best players in the world for sure. Some younger also. You have Vini Jr. playing a high level. We still don't know. We're not sure what's gonna happen to Neymar, but now we have to count on him. We have to look the team with Neymar, but I don't know exactly what is gonna happen. But you have Rodrigo. You have a midfield with Casemiro, a very experienced player, but also Bruno Guimarães, who's playing a high level for Newcastle. Lucas Paquetá, who's still young. You have Militão and Marquinhos at the defense. At both fullbacks, we also talked so many times about positions in the World Cup. We still have Danilo in the right and Alex Telles in the left. And for the goalkeeper, we have Ederson, who won everything with Manchester City. So Brazil is still one of the best teams. Brazil has a brilliant squad. And Carlo Ancelotti is a person who really knows the Brazilian football. He's used to work with the Brazilian players. He's used to the Brazilian style, the way of the Brazilian players in the locker room, in playing also. You know, he's really used to the Brazilian players. That's something that Vinicius Junior, Rodrigo, and Eder Militão always say, that Carlo Ancelotti is a very nice guy. He likes to talk to them, and he has some more connections with the Brazilian. For example, the guy who is the connection now who made the connection actually between Carlo Ancelotti and the Brazilian Federation was Kaká, who was his player for Real Madrid. Today, another name who was on the table to be a possibility of this transition, with at least the role for the transition post, would be Paulo Roberto Falcão, extraordinary midfielder from the 1980s who played with Carlo Ancelotti at Roma, who won the Italian championship with Carlo Ancelotti, and is a very close friend to the Italian coach. He could be this head coach, his assistant coach, the guy who talked to Ancelotti during this period. But my concerns, like Alex Kirkland said, my concerns are at Madrid. How will Real Madrid deal with this situation? That you have a head coach, that the next week you're gonna have a match away against Alaves. You have so many problems. You have you have just lost one match, for example, and then in the other week you have a call-up for Brazil. How will Real Madrid deal with that? How will the Spanish press deal with that? Because when we look with the Brazil eyes, when we look with the Ancelotti eyes at this situation, it's everything good. But for Real Madrid, is this the best situation that you have a head coach splitting your attention with the club and the team? He can say that, no, I'm here in Madrid till the next year. I'm not looking for Brazil. But if you have your son, for example, there, would you believe that? For me, it's impossible. So I think that we still have some things that is gonna happen. For CBF, it's a deal done. They have the word of Carlo Ancelotti. They believe that. But in football, everything can change in few hours.